Hey everybody, this is Beelit, and this is Injustice 2 Tech Time. We're going over a little bit of tech with Wonder Woman, something that I found that I think you guys might find useful. I love Injustice, and in Injustice 1, Wonder Woman was my main character. And so now in Injustice 2, I came back to Wonder Woman, and she is drastically different. And one of the big problems that I've been finding is dealing with dedicated zoners. I'm finding it to be very, not necessarily difficult, but there's a lot of pressure in fighting them because when I do get close, I don't have a crazy 50-50 mix-up game that is just kind of naturally imposed by virtue of being fast or stuff like that. Her back to overhead, I believe, is 21 frames, and her low is 22 frames. So as you can imagine, it is fairly difficult to enforce moves that are that slow if they don't have armor or something like that. So I've been trying to figure out ways to make my pressure count, to get close to my opponent and make it mean something. And I found this string. This string here is actually, let's put him on block here, it's actually plus 12 on block. Now what's really good about this string here, I'll show you here, plus 12 on block. What's really good about this string is that the opening attack is actually a 10 frame startup. So you might instantly be doing the math and think, well, wait a minute, this is a block string infinite. Alright, if your opponent can't act until 12 frames, but you're acting in 10 frames and it's a mid, they can't do a dang thing about it. Well, yes and no. If they don't understand the string, then yeah, they're just going to sit there and block forever. But it is actually interruptible. So just for the sake of time and not having to go through the menus for, 10 minutes here, I'm going to set him to parry. But you can actually interrupt with a down one. So I'm just going to show you right here. You can actually interrupt with a down one. You can also interrupt, I've done it with Batman with his standing one, which will take you into a full combo. I'm not entirely sure what the exact frame data is for that gap, but I have found that down one was easily the most consistent. You could just mash it out and there is no trouble whatsoever. It's a little bit more tricky doing the standing one, just because you are having to stand up and you don't want to hold back one, which will give you his low kick. So it's a little bit trickier trying to do that. So it's possible some of the difficulty in performing it consistently came from that little mix-up there. But the point is, it is interruptible, and I would venture to say most characters can interrupt it with some down one attack. So initially when I found that out, I thought, okay, well, this string is still good, but I need to figure out what I can do to stop people from mashing. So my first thing was, I'm going to try the shield bash. Well, it jails if you do the shield bash. The shield bash is mid. Then I thought, okay, maybe shield toss. The shield toss is also mid. Let's see if that works. Alright, it didn't. It jailed on the way out. Of course you can bring it back in, but if they're only parrying during that specific part, or if they're only mashing buttons during that specific part, the mid part here, then you're not going to get anything if they stop mashing afterwards. So then I thought, well, is there anything else that she can do? And yes, there is that. But that's, I believe, minus 18 on block. If you meter burn it, you get an overhead attack, which is minus 10 on block. And you're not getting much off of it if you do hit. So, I mean, technically it is an option, but I wouldn't really call it the best option in the world. Just out of curiosity, let's see what it's like in the corner. I actually did not think about this earlier, but, oops, oh, wrong input, sorry. It doesn't look like you can follow it up in the corner, but, I tried. So the best option is to try to stagger this string. If you want to do it in a kind of neutral setting, you can try to stagger the string, trick your opponent into having an incorrect timing for mashing it. But there's also another thing that you can do when you get into the corner. I'll go ahead and show you that.
So
I hope that you found this useful. I think that probably the corner setup, doing it on top of your opponent once you've got them to stop waking up, which can be fairly difficult with Wonder Woman. I haven't figured out a way to, you know, really scare my opponent in their wake up game, other than standing outside of the range of whatever their wake up is and using back 2 just to kind of counter it. I haven't found a really solid way to tell people do not wake up yet, but if you end up getting an opponent who's not waking up very often, or maybe they don't have a great wake up option, then doing that corner setup can actually put you plus on block right there in the middle after a combo, and force them to hold a little bit of pressure, which you can use to mix in throws. You can even, once you've mixed in the throws, set up throw baits and punish them for things like that. Other than that, the best use that I can imagine getting out of it is by surprising your opponent with it or staggering it, like I talked about earlier. But anyway, I thought you might like that. If you are a Wonder Woman player, definitely take a little bit away from that string, experiment with it, see what you like about it, what you don't like about it. If you play against Wonder Woman, don't let them do this to you over and over and over again. Fight back. I will see you guys next time. I hope you appreciated and found something useful in the video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would support the video. You can do that by leaving a like or sharing it with someone that you think might enjoy it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you next time.